Hello.
Hi, I'm Jessie Sprocket. I'm the Communications Director here at The Generator.
I'm Alicia Dynamic, and I'm the Education Director here at The Generator as well.
And we are now booking the next 6 months of Sigma Boost. So if you want to be on the show, just go to therenogenerator.com/SigmaBoost2022 and get on the show. There's like a little calendar app. It's super easy. You just pick a Wednesday. And you come on here and you can just say whatever you want to say. We don't even censor you at all.
Nope.
It's live, so you can do whatever crazy shit you want, and we can't stop you.
Wow. We're just gonna invite that. So cool. See you soon.
I mean, I feel like we can get more weird.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah. And we're out at the Generator, which is our like maker space. If you haven't been here, it's been open for like a month and a half now.
Yeah, we just came off of Reno Punk Rock Flea Market, which, if you've been watching the show, you know Sprocket is the founder. So it went super well. I'm surprised by that number because it was popping off.
Yeah, we even had the USS Compensator come, which is a lifted limo. They just showed up and ran over cars, and that was great.
Apparently, Ski saw them at a party.
Oh, nice.
The night before, and was like, "You should come." And
So the
they
fleet
did.
went later, and you can watch a giant lifted limo crush into cars.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, it was great.
It was.
What's new with me is I just went to Austin. So we did the flea market. It was insane. Worked like a bajillion million hours for so many days, and then like decompressed for a couple days, cleaned up the space, and flew out to Austin to go hang out with my other bestie and see Bikini Kill. And I had so much fun. Austin's such a great town. I ate so much good food and went to art museums and went to parties, and it was just like really what I needed.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was very nice. I went to Sierraville Hot Springs on Sunday, and it snowed all day long, and it was really beautiful and nice. And if you haven't been there, you should go there. It's like an hour from Reno.
What pool did you go into?
We went into the big outside one and the little inside hot one.
Nice.
Back and forth.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
The other what's new with me is that Cassidy peed on the potty twice.
Oh, that's
last
exciting.
night and today. I know. It's a really big deal, guys.
Dude, it's a big deal. Get your kid out of diapers. If you've done it, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
My hopes weren't very high, I'm going to be honest. And then he went ahead, and I was like, yes.
It's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah. Getting closer to independence.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, now we're just stuck. We could, except that Alex just left.
Yeah, true. Well,
That's okay. There's a couple other things we can talk about. So tomorrow, we're doing an art session for the zine, and we just do a zine every quarter. It's called Generate the Zine, and it has a different theme each time. And this theme for the summer one is color, and basically anybody could submit their art, and then we publish it in this like magazine like collection of all the different art submissions. We just did one for the flea market, and there were over 8 art project that has grown a lot, and we're going to have a session tomorrow at West Street Market from 6 to 9. They're totally free. We bring all the supplies, and you just come down and like hang out and listen to music and talk and make some art. So it's really
they're really fun. You should come.
Yeah, and you can do anything. You can like write a poem or make a collage or draw something. It's really a versatile 2D art form. So
it's very satisfying, I imagine, too. I keep meaning to submit something. I want to come tomorrow because it's always really cool to see the magazines when they come out. They're really nice. They're printed really beautifully, and to see all the art in there, I think, you should try it.
Yeah, it's great little like showcase of all these different Reno, Northern Nevada artists.
It's a low barrier to entry. Like pretty much any way that you make art, you could make something that could fit.
Yeah.
So
we really take anybody's art as long as it's not like copyright infringement stuff. Like that's the only restriction.
Well, let's do Instagram roundup.
Okay. Instagram roundup. Let's just do it early.
We're doing it early.
Right.
So
Let me switch over.
we're switching over to Instagram roundup. So the other thing too is we are booking our summer camps. So if you have any kids in your life that you think would like to come spend a week making art here in the Generator, look it up under therenogenerator.com/kids and get signed up because we have really small cohorts and they're going to be really fun.
La 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 la. Oh. Hold on, I was just gonna show you guys. Oh, the summer camps, since you were just talking about it.
Jenny, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out.
Ooh, we're gonna do a slow load today. Yeah, so there's 3 different kinds of summer camps: maker workshop, sculpture studio, and installation art. And it's super rad because Alicia finds local artists that like do things in those mediums and those styles, and then they are part of the summer camp. So
yeah, they come to a special workshop with the kids, and so they get to meet like a local working artist who is working in that field, and they're really small groups, so they are, you know, it's a really cool experience. I think the kids have a really good time, and they have a really like intimate experience with the instructors and with the local artists, because it's just not a huge, like, you know, some summer camps it's like tons and tons of
massive,
kids.
yeah.
And these are just really small, so they're also really good if your kid is the kind of kid that does better in that setting, for whom like a more traditional, like bigger, more active kind of summer camp experience might be a little bit too much. It's a pretty good fit for kids that might need a little extra attention. So
bring us your weirdos. Leica Press is doing a call for prints. I really need to apply. I want to submit one of my block prints. I gotta make something special for it.
Totally do.
If you don't know about Leica, they're really cool. It's just like a print, like a press place, you know, and they have like screen printing and all things kind of like printmaking. And they're doing a little show. So
it's run by Nathaniel Benjamin, who's a really, really incredible artist, and his work is all over town. Yeah. And so there's a lot of really, there's a lot of talent in that space. So it's a cool spot to get hooked up with if you're interested in 2D art.
Yeah, and they just moved their building, so now Leica is in the building next to the Holland Project, and they're combined with K-Wink. So it's just like this cool little...
Super convenient, down in South Wells. Yeah, it's great.
Urban Roots doing a spring bloom brunch at the teaching farm.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Everything looks really nice for that, the pictures they posted.
Yeah, so cute. Pretty cheap too, $25 for an adult, $15 for a kid. I feel like that's pretty affordable. So delicious, dude. Oh my god, I want all of this. Hey, come on, sit down. Like, you get to design a tapestry, you get to have local music, some tea, and then you meet their chickens.
Yeah, it's like a choose your own adventure type thing, I feel like.
Love that.
You get to kind of pick which things you want to do.
That's really smart, and it's all to support Urban Roots, which is
it's a really clever idea. I was like, man, we could do something like that, you know, where you could choose a workshop.
Yeah.
It's a great idea for organizations like ours that have a lot of different things going on.
So go support them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Soap making workshop's gonna happen. I just thought that was kind of cool. Something that I've never done before that seems pretty fun.
The trip out there, it's a cool little drive, and that is such a beautiful art center. If you haven't been, it's really worth it. It's worth the trip.
Yeah, I would totally drive out there just to go. And it's in Fallon. Who would have known, you know?
Yeah.
Oates Park. Look it up. More bike stuff. Coffee outside. You just like on Friday at 7 a.m. you go bike to the park, and then you have coffee with other bike nerds.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bike packing nerds, not even.
Sorry, bike packing nerds. New wellness writing workshop is happening with the Sideways 8 project at Bruca on Tuesdays, like doing kind of poetry and breath work, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds really nice.
And then Radical Cat, next weekend, they're going to have their opening gala with lots of cool things, live music, vendors. They're like a new anarchist bookstore / cat cafe. It just opened on Wells.
Very cute. And again, if you have kids in your life, they just launched a new project that's a book club for kids, and it sounds super adorable. So if you have like sounds like it'd be good for like elementary, like late elementary, early middle, you know? Check it out. It's really cute.
Anarchy and cats are like my 2 favorite things.
Yeah,
there you go. You should join the kids book club.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
Love that. All right, cool. That's all I got. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you guys. Oh, I don't know if I can do it quick enough, though. Oh, the flea market. I just wanted to show you the, like, running over the cars.
Oh, yeah.
La, 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 la.
There it is.
Just because you got to see this. Look at the magical things that happen here at the generator. You missed it, guys, but don't worry. It'll happen again.
Probably. Or something comparable.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, switch it back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then we had a viral video from the flea market too.
It was very odd that was the video that got so much traction.
Yeah. Weird.
It was underwhelming, but people liked it apparently.
They like when people fall.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Sigma Boost.
Welcome.
Estebo is
Will you
here.
please introduce yourself?
So I'm Estebo from Charged Heart Productions. I once did play in a band. Actually, we're getting back together, so maybe I do play in a band
Oh,
again.
the band's getting back together.
Yeah, no, my mom passed away recently, so one of her wishes was for us to do like one last hurrah for her. We never broke up or anything. It was just we all kind of parted ways doing our own thing. Actually, me and my guitar player ended up starting the production company, Charged Heart Productions.
Oh.
So while we were taking time away from playing music, we decided let's go make movies instead. So that's what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to do a little tour in your mom's honor?
I'm not sure if we're gonna do a tour or not. Like we're definitely
Just
doing.
do some shows.
We're at least doing like a show or two. It's funny. I moved up here to Reno about a year ago, and before like the last 10 years, it was just my band Falcon A coming up here to play, and so we'd always would play with Machine Gun Vendetta, who were friends of ours, which Adam and Scott from Machine Gun Vendetta also joined the production company. So it was kind of cool, like just taking all of my friends that I knew from punk rock and being like, let's do something even cooler. Like besides us just writing songs, we can now like create narratives, or maybe we can take it beyond that. And, you know, I think when it first started, it was like, okay, like why don't we help out like other artists? You know, like
Right.
maybe they need music videos, or maybe they need like capturing their footage live. And then it was like, okay, well, why don't we do commercials? Like, why don't we do weddings? Why don't we start getting involved? And you know, especially with like all the stuff that happened the last couple of years with the pandemic and you know a lot of the social unrest, I really like started questioning myself about my art. You know, I'm sure every artist goes through this. Like, you know, do I want to keep creating art because it's satisfying this need I have, or like, am I actually serving a purpose in this world? And like, it's like I battled with that for like the longest time, especially like playing music, and then getting into film. It was like, okay, well, I can evolve it. It could be more documentation. Maybe it's like really capturing that moment and not sounding like cheesy, like I'm selling like Kodak. Like, make sure you buy Kodak film, right? But it's, you know, like life kind of happens, and I think about like people having phones in their pockets, and like we're able to, you know, capture what's happening in that moment. But I'm like, how can we capture that moment and have it like be more cinematic, you know, and being like more immersed in there to make it feel more realistic? Because these cameras do great on here, but at the same time, I'm like, how can I just have a camera ready and capture that stuff? So like, I've gone out to like protest and, you know, documented that stuff, especially like around the time when the George Floyd protest happened. It was a lot of, you know, people are out there just causing havoc because we're locked in because of COVID. And I'm like, no, you have a bunch of people that are angry and frustrated, and that's why like we're speaking out, you know, and just, it's, the themes kind of continued. So like, not that I'm necessarily wanting to like capture all this negativity, it's more so as life's kind of happening.
It's history, right?
It's history in the making, right? So I want to be there for those moments, but then it's like, okay, well, maybe besides like just like the traumatic stuff happening, like what's stuff that's happening locally. So the last like 6 or 7 months, we've been helping out the Generator, you know, documenting what's happening down here.
Yeah, full disclosure, they totally, Charge Heart like helps us with so many different things at the Generator. It's awesome.
And
It's
they're like
really-
our in-house videographers.
Yeah, in-house production crew. Yeah.
Oh, we enjoy everyone down here, you know, like honestly, like, I mean, me moving up here this last year, it's like I lost friends from the Bay Area, but it's like having this distance now, like all my friends I knew at Gilman from like volunteering there the last decade. It's weird having that distance, but like coming up here and being a part of the Generator, I kind of feel like I found like the weirdos I need to hang out with. I'm like, where are like the people that like have the same energy, you know? Yeah, and where's that community at? And I feel like I've kind of found that around this neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You know? And it's been great.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been getting that feedback a lot the last like couple of years, like just like, oh, I didn't know where to fit in, or like where I could fit in, or where somebody would appreciate me and see me or whatever. And I feel like we're getting really good at like finding those people and bringing them to us, you know, and like activating them. I'm happy to make this little family. It's good.
Well, I think it's important for like artists to connect, right? Like, because I just feel like people need a way to express themselves, and especially people that have trouble with like being able to communicate verbally, right? I think like, okay, what's that connection with artists? It's because we have like these weird abstract ways of like how we express how we're feeling deep down, whether it's sculpting or a painting or someone's, you know, writing a song or creating a film, right? It's all these different ways of communication at the end of the day, you know, because we're storytellers. And that's, you know, I think that's something I really started thinking about like the last few months is like, you know, what exactly is it that I do being a filmmaker? And I'm like, it's capturing a narrative and helping tell a story, especially once the editing happens, right? That's like, if you catch raw footage, it's literally, this is what's happening in that moment. But when someone starts clipping and cutting, it's, you know, it's almost like how a zine's made, right? You know, it's putting that story together. So I really started thinking about that once I started getting more into film, of like how much I enjoy like telling stories, whether it's something that's truthful or if I'm just telling like a fun narrative because I'm just trying to connect them maybe on a more emotional level, right? So it's cool. I don't know, but I'm also high most of the time, so maybe that's where I'm like getting in my head and like, you know, wow, man, I see all these colors and they're cool. You know?
I think that totally. I mean,
That's good though. That's just art. It's part of the art practice, you know.
It totally is. When you talk about editing and stuff, you start to get into where it's like you can edit things to make it look like something that didn't even happen, right?
Right.
You can tell a completely different story in reality.
And that's something I've learned. I took a documentary class last year, and the professor I had, Richard O'Connell, he's done like 700 films for PBS. And yeah, it's
so much.
It's so
much editing time. I bet how many hours of editing you think that? Oh, it's crazy.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, you're probably talking like hundreds of thousands of hours because his films. I mean, some of it was 10 minutes long, and some of it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? You know, some of it was a series, some of it was just kind of a one-off. You know, and one of the things that we were discussing with like documentation, you know, it has a lot to do with like who's putting the story together. You know, is that person like how involved are they with it? You know, depending what the story of the documentation is. You know, and we watched like a series of different stuff, even like some of the mockumentary fun stuff, like This is Spinal Tap. You know, like that was like that being a mockumentary and it's all fun. He saw the values in that story where he's like, I know this is supposed to be like a fun, like making fun of stuff, but at the same time, had someone not had any like exposure to music or understanding that this was a joke, they could watch some of that and go like, why do these guys have such weird amps, or like they have a horrible stage show, right? And not getting the joke. But I guess maybe that's more so what it is. Like, don't show that movie to a friend who doesn't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So are you really into the documentaries the most right now? Because I know you're also doing a bunch of, like you were saying, you're doing music videos, doing wedding, like all different kinds of things. So what are you?
Well, right now, like, so we have like the Reno punk rock flea market documentary that we're working on. You know, we had a lot of fun. We've been like just cutting away from the bands. I have like a little 30-second teaser for the documentary, and we actually have a song from Slutsville that we can show you guys. So try to get that all finished up, and hopefully premiere everything like early June is kind of the date we're aiming for and stuff.
That's ambitious. That's very soon.
Yeah, no, me and my team are just away
knocking
like just knocking stuff out. I mean, besides that,
well, I know you guys are working on editing like the next day. I feel like I talked to you and you were like,
after the first day, we were already home, like backing footage up and like starting to move stuff around and just putting it together. But
I think
it was so much fun just that weekend. That was my first flea market.
Yeah.
And I, for years I kept seeing like Adam and Scott posting about like, dude, the flea market's happening this year, and so watching it from a distance on my phone, I'm like, they look like they're having fun. And then that was kind of it for me because I didn't live close enough. And moving up here, knowing that it was coming back, I was like, cool, I have to be a part of this, and I need to like capture what's happening, and just seeing like everybody getting built up, and like one little aspect of the flea market, it was like some were stoked about the build, like the gladiator pit and with the skate ramp, and then there was the other aspect of like, we're getting all this merch together, or I'm doing this because I'm bending, and just watching everybody like getting excited to like it was like Christmas was coming, and like everyone was like doing their part, and we're like, all right, are you guys ready for this? Go, and just it was like a bomb went off.
For real. I felt really actually super unprepared. Like, you always are thinking it's going to be insane when the doors open, but this year, like, with just how many people came through, I felt like I never caught my breath about it. I felt like the entire time I was just like, I don't know, all these systems are failing, but somehow everyone's still having a great time.
Right.
Like, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, it was crazy, all the like weird stuff we were doing. I felt like it just ended up needing to get done like in the background.
Yeah, that's okay.
Crazy.
Now we know.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was just a lot of running around.
Yeah, I feel like the number one feedback I've gotten right now is everybody wants it to be monthly, and I'm like, You know that's not possible. Stop asking.
But more than
Yeah.
once a year. More
Yeah,
than once
yeah.
a year.
I think
Monthly though. it's
monthly,
insane.
that's very, very
I would
ambitious.
die.
It would
I
have to be
mean,
a single day.
There's no. It's just not.
It's not
It's
happening.
off the table.
It's not happening.
yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, but yeah, I think more than once a year for sure.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see it at least be eaten twice a year. You know what I mean? And like I think like once in this like the cusp of like winter and spring kind of happening, right? And then having the other one being between like maybe summer and fall or fall and winter, right? Because there was a lot of people. I was not anticipating that at all, right? Like I knew there was going to be a lot of people, but just knowing there was over 5,000 people that just went by, and like a lot of it was like family and friends that I would see pass by, like, hey, like glad you guys came out, you know, or like,
Yeah.
oh cool, you were able to make it, you know, and they stayed for the entire weekend or came back the second day, right? And
Yeah.
that's what was rad.
Yeah, it felt like everybody came almost. Like I just feel like I saw so many of the people that I know in Reno
Mhm.
over that weekend.
Yeah,
Like a majority, I feel like, of the people that I know.
and all the vendors sold out their stuff, which was dope for the most part. Everyone
That's
did
great.
really
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So you're into the documentary right now, but
Mhm.
tell us about like some of the music videos and the other things that you've done.
Well, I've kind of bounced around. So before I moved up here, I used to work for a television show in San Francisco called B-Sides on Air. So it was a lot of like modern alternative music. So like we'd have stuff like Mumford and Sons, Imagine Dragons were on there, you know, Swimmers. So like we would have like all these like bands that were kind of like on the cusp of like blowing up. The 1975, like that's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. You know, like
I don't know them.
it's, how can I describe it? Like definitely alternative, but they kind of blend with this bit of like 80s synth pop, and they've got some touches of punk rock. They've got one song, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but the video's just nuts. It's like, it's gotta be like in a boxed like green screen room, and like the band's just playing, but all this crazy videos are like happening to make it look like they're on screens. But they kind of remind me a little bit of Peter Gabriel with one of their songs. Like, I can't, Love It If We Made It. If there was like hints of that song that kind of reminded me of Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer, and I used to love that song as a kid. But a lot of my like early influences when I was like just still in diapers influenced like my later years. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
like as a child, I loved the B-52s. Like they're on their last tour this year, and I have to go see them, right?
Hell yeah.
But I learned later on in life why I got in the Dead Kennedys, and it was because Jello Biafra and Fred Schneider kind of sound the same guy with the like, you know, it's a love shack in Cambodia,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And like that's, you know, it's kind of that
Yeah,
same
yeah.
voicing, right? And so it's kind of a trip when I think about my
Yeah.
childhood, right? Of like certain things I was into, even just like some of the films I was into, some of the music. It like really just evolved as I got older. I never really got away from like the roots of what I was
Yeah.
into, right? So a lot of my music videos in the beginning were a lot of like indie, like pop punk kind of stuff. I had a pop band. My first video I directed was for the Y-Axis, San Francisco pop band. I believe they just changed their name recently to Gloomy June. Really fun, like influences like I'd say like Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And what was fun, that was actually at Gilman Street for Punk Rock Prom. There was an event that I would do every year. They did it for years.
I want to
and
steal
then it
this.
stopped. Feel free. I'm sure they do other proms, other places, right? But like
Yeah.
Gilman did it for years, and they stopped. I want to say like 2008, 2009, and so we brought it back in 2013 and kept it going up until the pandemic happened. And so one of my first videos I had to
It
direct.
sounds like so much fun.
It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. The first year, it was a little bit more thematic. Like we had like the punk rock prom and queen, you know, king and queen. But the after years, like we just kind of would have like this big party of like dressing it up
I
like
love
prom.
an
and-
excuse to get like real dressed up. So
Well, I love that we can
Yeah.
have it be shitty
Especially
themes
crazy.
like Under the Sea. You know, like I would love that campy shit
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
much. That'd be so fun.
I would love to see like a version of punk rock prom being up here. You know, I think it would be a blast. I think everyone should
I
do
mean,
it.
clearly people would be interested because they come to the flea.
Yeah, and there's
I
that.
feel like a lot of the same people would want to.
Yes, there would be a lot of the same people. I wonder if, well, whatever. We're not going to start planning this
I'm like
entire
sitting
event,
here
but
planning
yeah,
this event in my head.
I'm like, we
Can't
could
wait
offer
for the next event.
we could offer childcare at the same time, so your kids could be like off over here, and you could be it'd be really nice.
Yeah. See, you have it more together. I didn't have to offer all that when I was doing punk rock prom. It was kind of like
We're just like, how can we go?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, that video was a lot of fun, but that was the last year I think my band played I had to direct this video, and I was like coordinating this event. And after I was done, I'm like, I'm gonna go home and sleep for like a day and a half.
Yeah.
I bet.
You know, and so after that was kind of when I was like, you know, I'm really enjoying being a director and just having a camera in my hand. I think I need to take this further. And shortly after that, I went out to Detroit and Chicago and filmed 4 music videos. It was like my first time out there. I just had a camera in my bag, and my friend Dan Stover was like, "Hey man, like my band needs a couple music videos done." So I got on the plane.
Oh, so they were all
there.
for the same band?
It was for 3 bands.
Oh, wow.
One band was Ruther, the other band was Splitters, those were Dan's bands, and then the ones that were in Chicago was for the Miserables. And that was a lot of fun. My friend Joe just showed me like a beautiful time in Chicago, like down like by the Loop and stuff. And
So how long were you there and you filmed all these videos?
2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks.
So I had basically like a day per video as I was shooting. Like I think when I first got into town, I was there for like 3 days, kind of like just hanging out in Detroit, like or at least like the outskirts of Detroit. Like we were like Detroit proper for like the first day, and then after that it was like Oak Park and Ferndale, which was cool. Like it's a cool little small town and stuff. Like everyone was super friendly. Or like I had friends that I kind of met in proxy of them because I'd add them on Facebook and would be like, oh, I met Dan over at Gilman Street when I booked Break Anchor, and we just kind of became friends. So I would like meet his friends virtually, start talking, and when they knew like he was coming out there to film, they were like, dude, this is so cool that you're out here. Like, what are you doing for Dan's band? And you know, when they found out that we were out there filming music videos, they got to see some behind the scenes. And while I was there, after we were done shooting, everyone would go to bed. I'd be up late just hacking away, just cutting and stuff. So like the next morning I'm like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking, and I'd show them the cut and they're like, dude, this looks great. Like, is that what you were doing last night? Like why were you up so late? And I was like, I don't know, I'm so like pumped and just I'm stoked on it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great place to be.
True artist vibes.
Yeah, no, and that was like it was interesting because in that regard it kind of felt like I went on tour without the band, right? Like I was like, cool, I'm just taking a backpack full of like clothes and a camera, and I'm just gonna be out here for 2 weeks and just make it work. And I did. I had a great time. Luckily my friends were like awesome hosts and like gave me a place to stay at, right? But it totally just felt like this DIY like punk rock director, right? I went from like sleeping on floors and couches and like being in the van with like my bandmates to I'm doing this by myself, and it's just like a one-man production, right? And so I've kind of been trying to keep somewhat of that ethos as much as like I want to take on bigger and bigger productions. I think about some of the gatekeeping that comes with filmmaking and stuff, and I'm like, the people that have some of the greatest ideas I think are limited because of the equipment they can't access because of how expensive it is, right? And so like I want to kind of like bridge that gap of like somebody who has like this brilliant idea, but maybe they don't necessarily have the budget for that equipment. I want to be able to be there to be like, that's coming to life. We're going to make this story just exist so everyone sees it and experiences the narrative you have to tell.
Yeah.
So with Scott and Adam, like, did they do video and film, like, that stuff before you met them, or you pulled them into that?
So all the guys in the company, so Scott, Adam, and Mark, like, they've all done a bit of production by themselves prior to me. Like, Mark, I know he had like a short story called Ralph. I just remember it was a stop motion he did with this little blue doll that he had, and I always wondered what he did with that story. Like I've bugged him every once in a while about it, and I want him to like kind of revive that script because I would love to like have like a 10-year lapse of like, okay, what was in your mind then to now, and how can we make this like adapt?
Yeah, I just want to do a film festival as well.
Right?
Yeah.
That
Like,
could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if we did like a little short film fest, that could be really cool.
That would be
That'd be
lot of
fun.
fun. And I think that'd be a great like a little workshop to do of like how to like create your own little film, because it's really like anything that has a camera, you can still.
Was that
create
here or is it some other city? I feel like that they do like a 1 minute or 5 minute film festival. Is that a common thing?
Yeah, it's really common.
It's really common.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hump, which is amazing.
Do it.
Dude, I wish we could bring a Hump here. Have you heard about Hump?
Mm-mm.
It's an amateur porn festival.
It's amazing. It's actually amazing. It's in Seattle and Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan Savage runs it.
Yeah.
if you know who that
And
is.
it's actually so incredible.
No, yeah, it's in San Francisco now too.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Mhm.
No, there's some.
Started in Seattle, and then it was in Seattle and Portland.
They're mostly
That's
really artsy.
Okay.
Yeah.
highly competitive to get chosen now
Yes.
to be in the screening.
Oh, I'm sure.
But so fun to like go to one of the screenings and everybody is just like cheering each other on and being super stoked, and I love that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
I went to a bike film festival in Bend, Oregon one time, and it was the same deal. Like everybody knew somebody that had made a film, so I think that could be pretty cool if you ever want to take on another project.
Yeah. No, I haven't been in any like film festivals are like really paid too much attention to them and stuff. And I think this year I've been wanting to change that, where I'm like, how can I get more immersed around like other filmmakers and see who else I can collaborate with.
You want to produce a short film?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
connected.
There's one here.
Is there one here?
That we get invited to as the generator all the time, and it's
Cool.
just like something that we just didn't have time for. Like I feel like every
cool.
time it
Now
came
you
around.
can participate in
Yeah,
that.
maybe-
Maybe we'll send you as the representative.
Yeah, rep.
Yeah, no, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't even have to make the event. Someone else already did. We just have to participate now.
Yeah, but I still want to make the short film. Okay, whatever.
I think
Figure it out.
that'd be a great thing to do. I mean, especially if you kind of did it in the way of like how the flea market is, right? Like made it like an event like that. Maybe that's what the next flea market should be. Is like maybe there's one that's based around music and one that's based around like films. You know.
I have so many ideas. I really want to do the Reno Punk Rock Book Fair so badly, and which is like more acoustic-y folk music, and then like really literary heavy, you know. Which maybe that's insane. Maybe that's like too niche, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think it's bad to have these avenues though. I mean, again, it's like it's all forms of art and communication, and there's obviously audiences for these things, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's big enough followings to like have these kind of events, right?
Yeah, like one-off day events,
Mm-hmm.
like one day punk rock film festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? What kind of punk rock?
It doesn't have to
event-
be punk
Just
rock
kidding.
either. It doesn't have to be punk rock.
What are some more events we should propose here at the generator?
Yeah. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know. Okay, so some other things. We always like to ask our guests what advice you would give to like an emerging artist or whatever, like in your field, like an emerging director, production person.
Yeah, maybe
so,
somebody who's getting into production. Like
So what advice would you give them?
I just would recommend just creating. Like, don't let anything hold you back. I mean, myself, like, I couldn't tell you how many times I spent years of like, you'll never play guitar, you'll never be in a band, you'll never make films, right? Just, you won't, you can't. And just hearing those things, I've always taken that as fuel to be like, watch me, and I'm going to do this, right? And it's like, not even so much I want that satisfaction of telling somebody like, oh, I did it. It's that knowing that like, no, if I'm gonna aim for like going to the moon, I'm going there. And even if I miss going to the moon, I'm just gonna keep trying, and I'm gonna keep trying, because that's all I know inside of me is just to keep going for it and to keep creating. You know, I had a friend of mine years ago, my friend Brandon. He told me, you know, a true artist just knows how to create, and I felt like that was a really beautiful thing, because it doesn't matter like what the monetary is or like what the exposure. I think that's like my favorite one to hear from anybody. Is just the exposure you're going to get. And like, just don't wear a trench coat around me, okay? I also do stand up, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Where were you? Didn't you just do a stand-up set?
I did some open mic over
at
at
the
Elbow
Elbow
Room.
Room.
It had been a while. Like, actually, my first time I ever did stand up was at the Knitting Factory, which is now the Virginia Street Barracks. That was kind of a fun one, because a friend of mine was the promoter, and like the biggest stage I never performed on, and it wasn't even with my band. And like I went up there just drunk as a skunk, and like the audience was very confused. Like my friends that saw me knew what was happening, but the rest was just kind of like, okay, like what's going on here, you know? Because I started getting heckled, and like of course like I started like laying into this guy, being like, no, dude, like I'm not up here doing any music. I'm just telling jokes. It's me, you, and the microphone. And he's like, come on, man, just one more song, you know, free bird, you know, just like the typical things like people shout. And I just started kind of.
Wait, was it a music show?
It was half and half.
It was half and half.